golf is a lot about, we need the hips to rotate before the spine, to go before the shoulders, before the hands, to create that kind of whip effect and really create power. And if we can't create mobility, then we can't create that separation. So mobility is definitely the largest part of that CPI assessment, and something that I start to look at from the get. And then once we master the mobility, then the strength really starts to take effect over time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Movement Driven Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Greg Goldberger. Greg, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Dara?
I am doing good. What you guys did not see off screen or did not hear off podcast is we were having some technical difficulties this morning.
But it's all good.
But it's all good. It's all good. It's just part of the journey when it comes to podcasting. You know, you just kind of have to swing into the next thing. And speaking of swinging,
look at that segue.
I know. So we're in the month of April, and what is one of the biggest things that happens in the month of April?
I mean, it's on everybody's bucket list, right?
Right.
It's Masters Week is coming up.
Yes, Masters Week. So Masters are here, but golf doesn't start getting better with your swing, right? It starts with how your body moves. So, you know, I know we talked about this before, especially TPC being last week. We definitely had, big golf content as far as that goes. Especially we work with a lot of golfers here with Movement Driven. So if you're trying to fix your golf swing without fixing your body, you're probably wasting your time, right?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, if you can't get into a certain position, then all of the drills and all of the instruction in the world isn't going to allow you to get into the position you need to be, to create power, to create speed, to use the force and create that gravity reaction force and get it through your hands to hit the ball consistently and well. So we have to make sure that kind of what we're talking about today is mastering your mobility is what we need to do first and foremost, so that we can get into some of these positions so that we can play the type of golf that we want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you have a new patient coming in or a discovery call, or, you know, you're just on the course yourself and someone wants to ask you a couple questions and they say something like, I need to fix my swing, what is the first thing that you're looking at?
So yeah, I got to check mobility first. So if the mobility is going to breed strength as well. What we've talked about in the past, that length tension relationship. If we can get deep in the backswing, then we can create power. And our muscles and joints work on that same principle. If they don't have a large enough range, then we're not going to be able to create the power that we need in that specific segment. It also leads to problems like sequencing, right? So golf is a lot about, we need the hips to rotate before the spine, to go before the shoulders, before the hands, to create that kind of whip effect and really create power. And if we can't create mobility, then we can't create that separation. So mobility is definitely the largest part of that CPI assessment, and something that I start to look at from the get. And then once we master the mobility, then the strength really starts to take effect over time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know obviously mobility is a limitation when it comes to this swing. But what are some other limitations that you see in golfers?
Well, I think if we separate mobility and be more specific about which parts of the body are most difficult to control mobility and gain mobility. With the golfers, first and foremost, I'm always looking at the hips. If we don't have enough extra and inter rotation, then we're going to put more stress elsewhere. We're not going to be able to get through the ball. Specifically with internal rotation, if we can't get efficiently through that downswing with that lead hip, staying stable and rotating the pelvis around that fixed thigh bone, then we're going to lose a lot of power. The next thing I look at is your thoracic spine. Thoracic spine is a very infamous stiffness that a lot of people have, where then we're going to put more stress to the lumbar spine, which is yielding a lot of our low back issues. So we have good rib cage and thoracic spine mobility, which is your upper back. And then the third thing, which is mobility, but quite a bit of stability as well. And maybe that doubles for the hip area as well. But scapular control. So your shoulder blades do a lot to then support the shoulder, support the elbow. And if our shoulder blades aren't doing well to wrap around the rib cage, wrap around the thoracic spine, then when we get into certain postures, we're putting more stress on the shoulder, more stress on the elbow. We're coming over the top typically for those people that don't have good scapular control. And so that's something that we often have to make sure they have adequate mobility from like a flexibility standpoint? Do you have pec length to get shoulder blade back and down, especially at the top of that backswing? And then do you have enough stability to keep it where you want, dependent on where you are in that complex golf swing?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I feel like this might be an obvious question, but maybe not just because everybody is different and the way that you're moving is different. But why does specifically the low back take such a hit?
Yeah, I mean, even in the general population, there's more people going around with low back pain than any other specific joint pain. So it is just this area that takes a lot of the force in everyday activities. But when we talk about golf specifically, our lumbar spine is not designed to rotate. Just anatomically, it's designed to flex. It's not designed to extend. It's not built to be a big rotator of your torso or your hips, or your pelvis, I should say. The hips and the thoracic spine are designed to rotate. So with those being two of the top mobility restrictions that we come across, if those two are both restricted on you, then you're going to put that stress somewhere else. And it makes a lot of sense for the body to naturally go into the lumbar spine and go into the low back. And so now when we're rotating through an area that's not designed to rotate, other parts of that spine are going to take that force. So the joints are approximating in a way where we're irritating them over time. But more importantly, I think what most people deal with is disc pain. So your discs, your lumbar discs are people have heard of hernia discs before, but these are basically shock absorbers that sit between your lumbar vertebrae. And when your vertebrae are rotating back and forth, we're literally putting a grinding shear force through those discs. And you combine that with that flexion posture in a golf swing, and we're just putting a tremendous amount of pressure and force through those discs, and they can only hold so much. So like I say, with most injuries, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. You don't know when it's going to happen, but if we're putting 70% of the rotational stress through the lumbar spine when it really should only be getting 20 to 30%, and the other parts above and below should be taking that bigger part of the force away from it, then it's going to break down. It's more of a matter of if, not, or more of a matter of when, not if.
Right. No, that makes total sense. I mean, I feel like even just in regular day life, like when you have like back pain, it just kind of slowly but surely comes and you could like pick up a pencil the wrong way
Right.
and like throw it out.
Yeah, people talk, "Oh, I bent over to brush my teeth," and that's when their back throw. It wasn't the 400-pound deadlift they did the day before. It was with improper form. It was the toothbrush that did it. It's like, obviously it wasn't that, but your back was just at the point where it said, "I'm done. I'm not going to let you bend over, brush your teeth, and spit this morning. Here's my herniation." And so we never know when it's going to go. And even if you're doing all the right things, injuries still happen. But if we can create the right amount of glute strength, the right amount of hip mobility, the right amount of thoracic mobility, then we're going to reduce the force through that spine every single swing. And when you add up how many times you're swinging it per week, per month, we're going to accumulate a lot of reduction of force through those same tissues. And then we're at least going to prolong the inevitable, if not prevent it completely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all of that in mind, what are some things that golfers should focus on right now to keep their body healthy? And, with this mindset of they're going to be watching the Masters thinking, like, oh, I could swing that and I can swing that. So, what are some things that they should be thinking about?
Well, I think you can swing that. We gotta do some things first. If you're struggling to fix or enhance your swing, and you still have the same golf faults that you've had for years, and you've seen instructor after instructor, you watch YouTube video after YouTube video, and none of these little drills make a difference in your swing, then we have to fix the underlying issue, which is likely a mobility or strength limitation. And we're talking about mobility. So those of you, especially if you're listening, up in the northern states and winter's just about wrapping up and we're getting out there, you've been maybe a little more inactive, especially if golf is your main form of exercise throughout most of the year, then you have to prepare your body. And so I hope you spent most of winter doing some off-season programming like we talked about before, but if you haven't, we have to progress load steadily, and we can't go from 0 to 100. So the thing that I see the most is when you go from not doing anything and not putting stress on these joints and tendons at all, and then you go to, I'm playing 3 rounds a week and going to the driving range 2 other times. Well, now you've increased volume too much and you haven't built up the ability for your tendons and your joints to attenuate these forces. and they're going to break down just because they're not in shape. And so we have to work on mobility first. So while you're watching the masters, get up off of your butt. Don't sit in the recliner and get on the floor and do some stretches. Like, I don't know why people can't multitask a little bit, but I tell people all the time, like, if you're going to sit there and watch the Masters 4 days straight for 8 hours every day, if you have a beautiful life that affords you the ability to do that, then all I'm asking for is spend 1 hour each day on the ground doing some of the mobility work that you've learned in the past, or go on our YouTube channel and see some of the stuff that we recommend. And try to, kill two birds with one stone. While you're watching these guys, grip and a ribbit, you can be doing some work that's going to behoove you over the next few months and improve your performance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you saying that people could get a birdie for watching the golf and doing the stretch?
I don't know if that segue was as good as it at the beginning. A little bit of a stretch. But I think we can, maybe we get an eagle, right? There's 2 birdies in one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like where your brain, I like the intent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, awesome, Dr. Greg. I think this is a great episode and a good thing to be thinking of as we are getting ready to go into Masters Week. Whether you're an avid golfer or you're just trying to get into it, just making sure that you're preparing your body the right way before you get on the course or before you're practicing or whatever sport that you're doing. This is a really good mindset to have and to get into those things to reduce the risk of injury.
For sure. And if you're local in the Jacksonville or St. Joe's area, like you're a golfer and this kind of is speaking to you, then give us a call. Hop on a discovery call. Let's get you in here for a TPI assessment. And I promise you'd be feeling better within the first couple of visits.
Yeah.
You have a long time.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dr. Greg, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Movement Driven Podcast with Dr. Greg Goldberger. Want to see how we're helping people in Jacksonville bridge the gap between pain and performance? Head on over to movementdriven.com. Until next time, keep moving, stay driven.